thank you for watching the forum. Today we are going to be speaking with Zach O'Brien, and he is the founder and publisher of Active NorCal magazine, which is one of the newer magazines here in town. And actually, how new is it?
We started January of 2014, so this newest issue, that's our 7th issue.
Wow.
Yeah. 7th issue.
Yes.
I know.
So how
Big
what prompted you to start a magazine, especially Active NorCal? I mean, it's such a natural fit, isn't it?
It is. You know, I know what I like to do in this area, and I know what my friends like to do, and I was really searching for, you know, a place where everyone can go to find out about this stuff.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find it centrally located.
That's true.
And being in magazines for the last 3 years, it just seemed like it was an opportunity I couldn't miss out on.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the plunge.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is he gets to do all the research for it.
That's right. That's right.
So one of the things that I'm talking about is his beer camp road trip. I won't ask much more about it, but he said he had a lot of fun doing the research.
That was actually, it was a blast. We did a 6-day trip, and we matched a microbrew with a campsite all around Northern California.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
That's actually a cute idea.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Matching 2 of my favorite things. So.
Yeah.
Aw. So why Reading? Why did you come back to the North State to start this magazine?
Well, I grew up here.
Okay.
I grew up here, and out of college, I was working in PR, and it was fun, but working for a minor league basketball team was a lot of work and not much pay.
Where was that?
Reno, the Reno Bighorns.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I came back, and I was doing some magazine work with my mom, and this just was in my head the entire time, and finally, you know, I went for it. I was actually reading a story on Richard Branson, you know, the Virgin founder, and his first business was a magazine when he was 15 years old.
Oh my gosh.
But he had a quote. It's something like, "You got to stop thinking about it and just do it."
Exactly.
So.
For other people who have an idea, because a lot of people are doing things online. So how did you think to have your, you know, an actual paper magazine? How did you?
And actually, in 2015, online is our focus.
Okay.
We had the idea, and we put out a survey, a large survey via email and social media that says, what do you like to do? What do you like to do in this area? And we had no prerequisites. Like 95% of people said this is what they like to do. They like to do outdoor activities. So first we did our research, and it went great. And then we just sort of put feelers out there. You know, we're a free magazine, so advertising sales is a huge part. And we had businesses that came in with us before we even printed anything at all.
And who was that?
Oh,
do you remember?
I do. I greatly appreciate their business.
Yeah.
Subaru of Reading, Wind River, Mercy, North Valley Bank at the time, now it's Trek Counties. And Scotts Valley Bank.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, supporters, for making a dream happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is huge here in Reading, the outdoor activities. I mean,
The whole North State.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Well, and I'm talking about Reading. I mean, I came from San Diego and Sacramento, and things weren't as, you know, outdoor focused. So now to get here and everyone's like, let's go on a trail, and I'm like, there's bears and stuff out there, aren't there, you know? But it's nice to see a magazine now that I've been acclimated into Reading culture and North State culture, to be able to pick up a magazine and see what new things there are to do, and new ideas and new places to go and new things to try.
Right, and I grew up here, and my dad, he was a writer and a fly fishing guide the entire time I was here. So it's really what I grew up with, and so this sort of content just comes naturally to me.
How do you come up with your stories?
They pop into my head typically when I'm in the shower.
Oh, okay.
Do not interrupt the man's shower.
No, we have a team, and we sort of push around ideas. It's me and our content manager, Ross Lawrence, and my father, the editor.
Oh, wow.
And we sort of just play around with ideas, and we try to push our editorial towards the season, obviously. And you know, it's not, there's no you know, cookie cutter process to it. It's sort of just all over the place. But
now you do get different stories. So how could someone, I mean, like the Team Taylor that you have here on one of your magazines. How can people get into your magazine if they feel like they have a story or they have something they want to talk about or a new thing they do active, focus?
Just get a hold of us, being in journalism, you love it when people come to you with story ideas, It's really helpful, and for us, even if it can't make our bi-monthly magazine, it can certainly be on our website and everything. Taylor was different. Taylor, I followed his story for a while.
Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Well, he was diagnosed about 2 years ago, and I followed him on Facebook. And I didn't know him, I knew no one in his family, but I followed him, and I wanted to do this story since our first issue, but I thought it might give the people the wrong idea about who we are.
Absolutely.
And so we had to establish ourselves, and then in December I said, okay, we have to do this. So we reached out to his family. They were more than happy to do it, and it was great. We actually ended up raising almost $2,000 for his medical bills.
Oh, good.
And it's just to sort of get his story out there, and story just like kids like him,
What's his story, for those that don't know it?
Well, he was diagnosed about 2 years ago, and he has an uphill battle, and he's been battling it hard. And they go to the hospital about 5 days a week in Sacramento.
Wow. And he was diagnosed with what?
I believe it was lung cancer.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
and he's how old?
He just turned 16.
Okay.
He just turned 16.
That's hard.
And the story is kind of more about his courageous battle, like the way that he's kind of braving.
Well, that and the community that rallied around him, all the Team Taylor shirts, those were all donated, and all the proceeds go to his medical bills, and all the different stories of these people that are fundraising. There was a guy who won a Christmas light contest, and he won like $5,000 and just donated it to him.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's his story told by the people in his community, and we didn't even interview Taylor.
Wow.
It's about everyone else in this small town of Cottonwood, California. So
that's amazing. Yeah.
That's the power of community. But I love what you're doing. So if someone picks this up, what is the one thing that they can always kind of count on?
Finding cool stuff, cool active stuff to do in our area.
Okay.
And we try to find the obvious stuff, but also the not so obvious stuff. We like to cover sports teams, but not necessarily your typical basketball, football. We did lacrosse, and we just did a roller derby article, and so it's just showing you the different options of how to be active. We try to just do everything positively. We want positive stories to sort of just uplift people in the community. But you'll find a lot to do. It's funny, I thought I knew sort of everything to do growing up here.
Right.
I didn't know anything. And now that we started this and people are coming to me, I've found out a ton, and it's been a lot of fun.
What's been your favorite, like, aha, I can't believe I never knew this story?
Oh, I don't know. I know a lot about the area. Lacrosse is a huge thing in this town, and it gets no coverage at all. And just finding the big community behind it was really cool. They had this giant lacrosse tournament at Big League Dreams, and we went to it, and teams from all over, and the Reading team was really good, and it's something that you don't hear about.
Right, because it's not in the schools. It's just league play.
It's club play.
Club play,
right? And they do travel teams and everything.
Right.
So.
But lacrosse is huge back east.
Right.
So for the West Coast, it's not. That's a new thing, and that's neat that you guys are showcasing it.
Right, and these are kids that never get in the newspaper or anything like that, and so it's good to be able to sort of showcase all their efforts, because they're training and practicing just as hard as the kids that are in the paper all the time.
Now, what are the borders of NorCal for you? Just the borders. I mean, you don't have to go through every county, but.
Well, for me, growing up here, those people in San Francisco that say they're in Northern California,
I know.
we all know they're lying.
That's not Northern California.
So to me, I like, the North Valley, typically like Chico up to Wairika.
Okay, so okay.
But basically to the Oregon border.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good, because then you can get people from way up there about things that you may may not have known about. You know?
Right.
So that's
Right.
a
Right.
good thing to know.
Right.
Wow. Well, I think you've done an amazing job. I've read a few of your magazines and your issues, I guess I should be saying, and it's just a very good magazine, even for someone who's not as active as you may be. So it's not all focused on things for men, since since it's a male publisher. There are a lot of things that you can learn about and just get more information.
I think people are probably wondering, where can I get these? Where can I find these? You mentioned it's a free magazine,
Right.
so where can you
We're all
find
around
these?
town. Our major racks are like YMCA, where you said you
where I get
it.
mine, yeah.
Orchard Nutrition, Reading Medical Center, Mercy, most of the workout places in town. We're all over the place. You can also go to activenorcal.net and get a subscription right to your mailbox for free.
Oh, that's
perfect.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to, how do they contact you? What's the best way to get a hold of you? If they want to do a story or if they want to advertise or?
Just go to our website, activenorcal.net. All our information's there. You can get a hold of me. You can get a hold of our content manager, Ross Lawrence. And we love it when people email us these stories. It makes our life so much easier.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It really does.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting to hear about these things. So often it's kind of like when I lived in D.C., there were so many activities and we went to a teeny smidgen. It's the same thing here, right? It's people come from all over the world to do the fun stuff that
They
we take
do,
for granted
absolutely.
here.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah. So it's really neat to have this great showcase and get to find out more and more about what's available for us.
Yeah.
Do you ever talk about anything focused on kids?
Yeah, well, lacrosse, we did that. We did a story on Shasta Magic, the
The lacrosse team, and
The
we're
lacrosse
almost
team.
out of time. I hate that. I hate to cut you off like that, but
I was just
we're gonna
getting
have
going.
gonna have to go to break. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming,
very much.
Active NorCal, and we'll be back in just a few seconds with the second half of our show, which will be just as exciting.
Hi, we're back, and today we are talking to Rhonda Ball, and she's the editor-in-chief of Enjoy magazine, still keeping with the theme of magazines. And so we're going to hear the story about how she got started and what Enjoy magazine is all about. And I mean, this is kind of, I'm excited.
I know, you guys know and love it. Okay, we have to show you the magazine. This is the most recent. So depending on when you're watching the show, it depends on which cover you'll see. But this is a special cover. Right,
Yes,
Rhonda? You
it
want
is,
to tell
it
us
is.
a little bit about that?
Well, actually, this one is one of my favorite issues. It's our 100th issue, so pretty exciting. We started the magazine in 2006, in October of 2006, and we have just been going.
Yeah.
And when we realized that, oh my gosh, the January issue is going to be our 100th issue, we all just kind of, we wanted to do something special. Have an illustrator or illustration on it, and the illustrator is a local guy, and Jefferson. Amazing.
Wow.
And all the little pictures on this illustration kind of is something about the North State. You know, we have the New Clairvaux winery, and we have the Hat Creek station up in Hat Creek, and we have bald eagles. And there's, I mean, all kinds of really
Mount
cool
Shasta.
stuff. Mount
Mount
Shasta.
Shasta.
There's the bridge, and there's Bernie Falls, and so it was just really fun. And Jefferson did a great job. And we're going to sell these prints in our store. We have Enjoy the
good.
store. Figure out a way to do that for Jefferson, because really inexpensive price for us, and it was really nice of him.
And
so
you use all your covers, right, from a local...
all of our covers, and actually it didn't start that way. When we first started the magazine, our first couple of issues, we used stock photography. But we didn't know anybody when we started either. So once the magazine came out, the first couple came out, we started getting people calling that wanted to write, and people that wanted to take photos. So, and one of our earlier first covers, I saw that same picture on something else, and I just said, "Oh no,
goodness,
no, no!
yeah,
this
can't have that, right?
this
Yeah,
isn't
exactly,
gonna work."
yeah.
So it's pretty exciting, and like I said, we started in October 2006, and all of our writers were students. We didn't really know any writers. None of us had ever done anything in the publishing business before, so we were all KMS people. We all worked in the marketing department at KMS. And Michelle Adams and Yvonne Mazzata, who are the owners of Enjoy, they were my bosses at KMS, and then they started in-house marketing in February of 2005, so they're celebrating 10 years in business. Yeah.
Wow.
And then Enjoy Magazine started a year later, and
it was that soon after.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We started in October, a year and a half later.
So where did the idea to start a magazine come from? I mean, what was kind of the catalyst for that?
Well, we knew that our jobs were going to come to an end at KMS.
Okay.
But before we all left, James Mazzata, his mother lives in Visalia, and there was a magazine there, and she was in it, and she sent him the magazine and said, "Look at my pictures in this magazine." Oh. So when James looked through the magazine, he said, "Oh my gosh, Reading needs this. Yeah. Reading needs a magazine like this." So we started playing with ideas when we were still at KMS, and then it just kind of happened. It's kind of, like I said, none of us knew anything about publishing, but luckily for us, I have a brother who is a editor, and he was at the time worked for MSNBC.
Oh, wow.
So I said, "This is what we want to do. We want to start this magazine. Can you help us?" Yeah. And he gave me a list of things that we needed to do, and writing was, and we were really most worried about writing and about stories. Yeah. Are we going to have enough stories?
Yeah.
And I'm
and
seriously,
now you probably have more than you can handle.
We have not even. And we usually try to cover the top 12 counties of California, and we haven't even scratched the surface. Yeah.
Wow. I love the story of how this magazine has just thrived.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You started basically at the beginning of the recession,
right.
and have built and grown, and now you've thrived. You've opened 2 stores. If you haven't been to the Enjoy store, you need to go. There's one in downtown Reading, one in downtown Red Bluff, and a brand new one
in Visalia. We actually launched a new magazine in October in Visalia, California, South Valley Living. It's also Enjoy, and it's funny because they have the magazine that we had seen. They still have that magazine.
Oh, they do.
But
so now you have a magazine and a store in Visalia?
And it's
wow.
It's the store is run by James's sister-in-law.
Perfect.
And she is also the person that helps us get the stories together.
Yes.
We do all the design here, and then it gets shipped to Visalia, and it's beautiful, and it's just starting out, and I think it's going to be big. We get so much great feedback for that.
I think it's going to be big just in general, like not franchising, but taking this basically to other cities.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is brilliant, and it's from Reading.
And we have had interest in other places as well. Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing to me about this magazine since the beginning, if you haven't seen it, you can get it pretty much anywhere in town. They're free. And when you first started, the thing I loved best, I liked the articles, but what I loved best were the advertisements.
And people say that. And that's seriously what we hear the most.
We hear for the advertisements.
The thing we hear most is, I read the magazine cover to cover, and even read the advertisements.
Yes,
so
I always read
that. Is huge, and that's a big deal because we're really grateful for the advertisers. Yeah. We have advertisers that have been in the magazine since the beginning, that have never stopped.
Yeah,
so
that says
100 issues.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Yeah.
But you also provided, what I like about this whole thing is when we moved up here in 2009, I mean, you guys had been rolling, you had your, and when my husband started his practice, you guys approached him. But the thing is, and he did it.
Yes, he did.
The thing is that people really do pay attention, like you're saying, and you provided a vehicle for people to look at something in print. I really love that, and I get a little leery when people say we're going online, we're taking everything online.
Right,
well, some people actually like to hold the print magazine.
And I do myself.
I love it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's nice to, it feels like back in the olden days when you read everything via print. I love this.
Right.
And you have online as well.
And we do have a website and Facebook, and
but you can read this online, correct?
The magazine is online.
Yeah,
yes.
see, I think I think the duo
that.
is nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
and we haven't really scratched the surface on our website either. I mean, there's a lot of things that we want to do, and we're a very small group that puts us together, and hopefully that
you guys do a good job.
Thank you.
So what's been your biggest challenge?
Yeah.
in this growth period?
Oh gosh, I think the biggest challenge is that we are a small group, and you know, deadlines get a little crazy, and now we have 2 magazines that we're doing every month, and so I think one of our recent issues was really one of the most difficult, because we had just come back from vacation, from the holidays, and trying to get 2 magazines done and being off for 10 days. And so I think the deadlines are the most difficult, but we do try and keep everything in order. I usually have editorial planned with writers' names on it for 6 to 8 months
Oh, that's
in
good.
advance. You know, I have stories assigned to writers all the way through December.
And
right
that's
now.
that's kind of one of the big topics. I mean, coming from public relations, like, I mean, we've talked many times, and I think a lot of people don't realize that if you do want to get a story into Enjoy magazine, you need to be thinking probably about a year in advance.
Yeah, at least
then,
6 months, at least 6 months, yeah.
And, you know, I mean, because 8 months it could take sometimes to
Right.
get your story
Right.
out there for magazine publishing. And so that's kind of a big deal.
But it's not always the case. I mean, sometimes a story won't work out, so
Sure.
we'll have a hole that we need to fill. So getting your story ideas in as soon as you can, you know, and emailing them to me. So emailing your ideas to me is the best way to do it, because I can always fall back on that.
Right. And being available.
Exactly.
If they call you, you had better pick up that phone.
Yeah.
And get in there, you know, I mean, really,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you get them everything you can immediately.
Right. And we've been so blessed with the quality of writing. I mean, the writers that we have are amazing. Our copy editor, Carrie Regan, is amazing. I don't think there's anybody better than her. She's just so awesome. And then our photography, and people comment on the beautiful photos in the magazine. And that's, you know, that's just people that called and said, hey, I want to be part of this. And I'm so grateful that we have been able to do that.
And I love that you stick to the lifestyle side of things. You know, you take a story and you really get to delve deep into who that person is and why they do what they do, you know, rather than just this person owns a business or this person has this, you know.
It's story driven.
Right.
Very
It is.
clearly
Exactly.
story driven.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we know that is what we all love, are the stories.
Yes, exactly.
We all love it.
And that is what kind of drove the store. We write about artists, and there's a ton of really talented, amazing people here.
Really are.
And you know, people would come in and or ask us where they could purchase these things that we were talking about. And that was another brainchild of James was, well, why don't we just have a store? Why don't we have a brick and mortar, and why don't we let people come in and buy some of the things that we talk about in the magazine?
Right.
Now, not everything in the store has had a story in the magazine.
Sure.
But that was how the store started.
Yeah.
And it's been very successful. It's just grown every year, and the Red Bluff store is huge, and Visalia store is doing fantastic.
Isn't this wonderful?
People, and it's just all about the local, purchasing local. And,
It really is.
And that's huge. And it's big right now, and the timing was just perfect.
Yeah.
And
So what stories out there that you haven't done that you totally want to do?
oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Probably too many for
and
her to
I,
answer.
you know, and I probably, if I had about 5 minutes to think about it, you know, there's stories that we've done that I'm just so happy that we were able to do. I love the story that we did on the Roundhouse, because my favorite kinds of stories are the ones about things that you've seen and you kind of go, wonder why that's there.
The Roundhouse was
The
a really cool
Roundhouse,
story,
I love
yeah.
that story. So those kinds of, you know, there's a fence in like Anderson Cottonwood area, it's a fence that's made out of rocks, a rock wall.
Wow.
And people have always said, what is
What
that
is
rock
the
wall?
story with
and
that?
we
Volcano
did.
rock,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did a story about that. So those are the kinds of stories. The lady that does the Christmas tree on the freeway.
Yes, the crazy Christmas
yeah,
tree.
So
Thank you.
Oh my
Rhonda,
gosh, we're done.
We're
Yeah,
done.
wow.
Thank you so much for watching today. What a great show with Zach and Rhonda. Thanks for watching The Forum, and we'll see you again next time.